So if you could be here around 9, that would be great. Okay?
Well, listen here.
Hello, and welcome to 90 Day Fiance Mmkay with Teachable Moments. I'm Mr. O, and today Miss H and I will be discussing Season 3, Episode 11 of Before the 90 Days, where Rebecca tells Zied her secret and Tim gives Jennifer a promise ring, and Season 1, Episode 20 of The Other Way, which is the last episode before the tell-all, and where Devin and Jihoon have a super cute wedding. Enjoy!
Hello, Mr. O.
Hello, Miss H.
And hello, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging in there as we are continuing to experiment with audio. So hopefully it's improved.
I hope that the audio of this podcast makes everybody listening as happy as riding an ATV makes Zied.
He was so happy.
He was so
His
happy.
laugh was back.
It was maniacal,
Yes.
but just the pure joy. It's like a child on
Oh,
Christmas
yes.
morning. He was just so excited. So excited to be on that
absolutely.
ATV.
So, The Other Way, where do you want to start?
Let's start with Jenny.
Okay. I feel like there's something wrong with the timeline.
Yeah, it's
So
very
she
suspect.
says she found out a week ago, and I'm confused because before she said she had a month left, and now she said that she's leaving, and she only found out a week ago. So I feel like they're fudging the timeline where it's just not consistent.
Yeah, I agree with that. It seemed like a little weird that they would let him over because it was clearly one of those let you in. He had to get permission to come over. And that seems really, I guess, a short time frame, but it's also probably because she was leaving. So, but it does seem, I am very fuzzy on the timeline here.
Yeah, I think they are too, because they're definitely not keeping it consistent. So she said that if she wished she would have known, but okay, so I believe that if she had known, it would have changed things if she hadn't come over already. But let's say that she came over and then he decides to tell her when she's over. Do you really think it would have changed anything?
Probably not. I don't know. I mean, I don't think she would have came. She wouldn't have come if she knew. I don't think.
Right. I agree with that. I don't think she would have come because that's like her life savings, like she said, and that was a poor decision. But I mean, she made a poor decision based on like not having all the information. But at the same time, I don't feel like if she knew when she got there, it would have changed her mind, because even after all this is happening, she's still trying to tell him, oh, like just make things better so we can be together.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's still trying at this point. So I feel like I don't think it would have changed anything had she known right when she got to India. But I do think it would have affected things if it was before she actually got there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it would have changed all that much, because it was just the excuse of, oh, I got to go be with my parents. I got to go stay with my parents, which, in retrospect seems weird already. It seemed weird at the time. Like, it's weird that he had to go stay with his parents for a month when he had his own place. Obviously, we know where he was now, but it seems like she would have been, she just would have changed nouns. Instead of complaining about him being with his parents, she would have complained about him being with his wife.
Right. The thing that, there's lots of things I don't understand what Jenny's doing. But one thing is, she says, he's a good guy. It's not his fault. And as soon as she said that, I was like, nope, he has been a liar from the very beginning. He catfished her with a completely different name and pictures. He said he was Mike Jones, this very attractive looking Indian man. And then she goes to meet him and he is not Mike Jones. He doesn't look like that. So he's been a liar from day one. And, I don't understand why she thinks he's anything but a liar, because that's all he's done this entire time.
Well, right. And I feel like he's lying to us, not lying as much, but he's lying to us too, the audience, because he keeps saying, what I noticed about him is he keeps like playing the sad puppy eyes and be like, oh, I've made so many mistakes. But you know what he never does? He never actually says what any of his mistakes were or what he should have done differently. He just wants us to be like,
Right.
oh, he's remorseful, and that's all we care about. And isn't it a sad situation? So he's playing us as much as he's playing her.
Yeah, I agree. He's definitely trying to be honest, but it's like a little too late, dude. Come on now.
Yeah, you got to be honest when something's on the line with your honesty, and not when like it's like a Hail Mary of a, well, everything's lost, so I might as well try being honest now. You don't get as much credit for it then.
Yeah. I kind of wonder a little bit, though, if Jenny was just not happy with her life back in America. And, you know, it was kind of this idea of this adventurous thing, this idea of having this very romantic love, because she says this has been the best 6 months of her life. And I'm thinking, wow, that's sad.
She has a daughter.
Yeah. You've been abandoned. You'd have to deal with Summit's family drama. You've been paranoid. You've been clueless. You've been isolated. How has this been the best 6 months of your life?
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah, I feel like that's just so sad on her part.
Yeah, it really is. Like nothing better. Like when you raised a daughter, like you clearly met somebody that you made a daughter with. Like none of those things compared to being abandoned by a married man in India.
Yeah, she was bored that 6 months because Summit wasn't even there most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the best 6 months of your life, being stuck in a foreign country where she complained about all these things like she doesn't speak the language, she can't really leave the house, she can't get around. This is the highlight of your life.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to something a little less, I don't know, sad.
Oh, hold on. Before we, just one last thing. Do you think this is over? Because Jenny's talking about it like it's over, but then Summit says to her, just be happy. And to me, that just seems like such a kiss off. Like, goodbye. Good luck with your life.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think she's going to earn any more money, but he could get more out of her if he wanted to. And so I kind of feel like similar to like it's both on the previews, and we're going to not talk about it later, but like Caesar and his person. As soon as she wants money, she's going to talk to him again. Like, and so it could be one of those situations. Like she's on the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, now we can move on from them because there was nothing kind of entertaining about that unless you like to see a bunch of very dramatic, depressing things and liars and liars.
Right. And people just untrustworthy people talking to me is, yeah. But let's talk about something that was more fun, and that was Devin and Jihoon.
Oh my gosh, that
was the most fun.
I loved their segment, and I feel like this is what The Other Way was supposed to be about. It was supposed to be about Americans learning about other cultures and really immersing themselves in, countries that are not like ours. And I don't know, I feel like this is what this whole season, every couple, it should have been like this.
Right. And that, because not just the American, it's like the family of the foreign person too, just like fully embracing them and bringing them into the fold.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved it so much.
Everything was
so much
sweet.
fun.
Yeah. So kind of so people know what we're talking about. So they had a traditional Korean wedding, which was called the Pebe. And
I didn't catch that.
Okay, so I apologize if my pronunciation is incorrect. And so basically what it was is just a bunch of superstitious games. It's kind of like all the fun things that happen at an American wedding, like, feeding each other cake and the garter toss, except it was just event after event after event of these little things that are supposed to, just fun things, supposed to say something about your future together as a couple.
Mm-hmm. And everybody was really on board with it. Everybody fully bought into it. Jihoon was hilarious the entire time. Mm-hmm. Devin really warmed up to it. She kind of started off a little
I feel
little
stupid.
unsure of what was going on.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah, but she definitely warmed up, and it was so cute. Ji-hoon said a couple things, though, that, like he said that he picked a good woman just because she looks good in a hanbok. And then that made me really just, you only care about looks? I feel like there's more to a marriage and a significant other than, she looks good in the hanbok.
Yeah, but I don't know. The few parts, like when they did the thing where they both took a bite of, I guess it was a date.
Yes.
I assume.
Yeah, it looked like a
and
bigger
whoever
date.
whoever got the seed was like in charge of the relationship.
Yeah, so he calls.
And he got the seed, and when she was like, he was like, "You should call me sir."
Yeah, and he says, "Devin is the slave."
And then immediately cut to a talking head where he was like, "No, Devin's in charge. Like that's not a thing."
At least he knows what's up.
Oh, he knows exactly what's up.
Yeah, and his little awkward dance and their cute little clothes.
Yeah, it was fun TV. It really was.
Right. I liked when the parents, his parents had to throw all the little, I couldn't tell what they were. They looked like nuts of some kinds, but like an assortment of things. Because I think one thing represented boys and one thing was supposed to represent girls. And it was supposed to represent how many kids they would have in their future. And Devin's like telling Ji-hoon, don't catch any of them. We don't want any more kids. But I thought that was interesting because she's like, no, I don't want any more kids.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Right. So he'll wear a condom.
Well, he did say something about that, right? Wedding night. Well, okay.
He did.
We'll wear a condom. It's like, that didn't really help you out so much. But I did think it was interesting. I've never been to a traditional Korean wedding, but I've had some friends that are Korean, and they have had like their child's first birthday. And so I feel like Korean culture is kind of sprinkled with these like little games and things like that. So one of the things they do at a child's first birthday, it's called a doljabi, and it's where the kid, they put a bunch of items in front of the kid, and the kid is supposed to pick up one of the items, and it's supposed to say something about their future. So they'll put something like, a dollar bill, like a pencil, and something to represent some kind of career. And then whatever the kid goes for, it's supposed to say, oh, okay, you're going to be rich when you're older, or okay, you're going to be educated, or say something about their
Isn't
career.
that how they pick the Dalai Lama?
The Dalai Lama, I'm pretty sure, is not Korean, but maybe?
I know, but it's like the same thing, right? At least that's my stereotypical American view of things.
Oh,
Like, I thought I heard something about that.
Oh, maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. So yeah, I loved their segments. And it was funny that his family was saying that she looked Korean. I said,
That was funny.
okay. Because she's pale and has dark hair? Because that's where the similarities end, I felt
That's
like.
pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I loved their segment. It was a lot of fun. So maybe going from there to maybe a little more depressing, I guess, since we're riding
it's just a roller coaster of the other way this week.
Yeah, definitely. So depressing would be Tiffany and Ronald.
Yup.
But Daniel keeping it light. They always have an opening segment of him wrestling with his sharks.
Oh, Daniel. I don't want to make fun of the way a kid cries,
Right?
so I won't.
Okay. I was like, sure. He was really sweet with his mom, and he was so concerned about the baby. I think before they actually get to the airport and, Tiffany's talking about, her concerns, I feel like she projects a lot of worry and what could be onto Ronald. Kind of like, Ronald will be triggered by this. Ronald will feel abandoned. Ronald will feel helpless. And that's going to make him want to do these things. I feel like she projects a lot onto him. And I'm sure some of it's fair based on just things that have really realistically happened. But I think some of it just isn't fair. And I just don't think that trust is there. And there should be a little bit.
Yeah, there's certainly none because... like she was like, oh, when you leave the airport, you must go straight to Craig was the person from the rehab center. You must go straight to Craig. It wasn't like if you feel tempted or if you feel desperate, you should go to Craig. It was like, no, you have to do this no matter how you feel. And so I totally see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, it just seems like such a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, if you keep on telling someone, oh, you're gonna slip up, you're gonna slip up, you're gonna slip up. I don't know. It's almost like you put that idea in their mind and then it's like, well, they were expecting me to do this. So, you know, they can't be that surprised when it happens.
Yeah, I already got yelled at for this happening. I already disappointed them. Like, I might as well go through with it.
Right. So they're at the airport and just a really heartbreaking thing. I think Ronald, after they said goodbye the first time, he comes running back and it's just like, oh, you're just starting it back at zero again. Like you're having to do it all over again. But it was heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's all it was. It was just heartbreaking and, you know, you feel for everybody involved.
Right. So what do you think about relapse predictions? Do you think that he has relapsed?
I don't know that much about addiction to make a actually educated guess, but I don't know. He seems, he seemed way too invested in Daniel and Tiffany to like be more likely to relapse. Like he seems like he's really, really trying hard.
Yeah.
And really, really cares.
Yes.
But I could also see a wedge coming between him and Tiffany if like every single time they talk, whatever, like all they talk about is her like, well, are you gambling again?
Right.
Are you gambling again? Did you relapse?
Yeah. That's got to be really exhausting. So she has left some very cryptic things on her Instagram that imply that they've had challenges related to him making poor decisions. But I mean, like I said, they were very cryptic. So I mean, maybe he's just making bad life decisions in general. Maybe it is related to his gambling, but it's not all unicorns and rainbows with them right now. Okay, so I think the last couple, because no Karini or Paul and no Laura Aladdin this week. So I think the last couple is Corey and Evelyn.
Yep. This was a juicy one.
Yeah, it really was. I think Evelyn's dad looks exactly like Evelyn. It's like him in male form.
Right. They just like cut Evelyn's hair and be like, just pretend to be a dad.
I know. It really does. No wonder Corey kept on saying that he loves him and he wants to marry him.
Right. I love you. And he kept saying te amo. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like that's another example. And we'll come back to this later. But how long has he been in Ecuador?
Oh my gosh.
That he can't speak any damn Spanish?
His Spanish is pretty bad. I thought it was
brutal.
I thought it was really funny later on in their segments how he says something like in their interview together, he's like, queso, you know, to say that he wants a kiss. Well, first of all, it sounded like queso, and I was like, why is he saying cheese? And then to say kiss in Spanish is actually beso. So it's like, that's not really the same. You just decide to add an O to the end, and all of a sudden the word is Spanish.
Well, that's again the stereotypical American understanding of Spanish is that's it. I'm on my phono and the computero.
It's close.
And add L in front of it.
Yeah.
Obviously it's feminine. Jeez.
Yeah, him talking to Evelyn's dad, trying to ask for her hand in marriage. It was bumbly at best.
It was. I love the dad's reaction, though.
Yeah.
I like the dad, though. Just like, you ain't got to convince me, man.
He knows his daughter well.
Right?
Yeah. So, do you think she knew the proposal was gonna happen?
I think she was... Knew is a tricky thing, but when he blindfolded her and put her in the car, he was either going to propose to her or murder her. So it was one of those two things.
Yeah, she says Ecuador is sketchy, so I mean, it could be either.
Yeah. And so I think she was like, oh, I hope he doesn't. Oh, please, I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't, knowing that he probably would.
Right. I kind of think that too, because I mean, timeline-wise, what else would it be? He said to her, you know, we need to get married because my visa's up and we only have 30 days. And so I don't know how she could not know, but maybe she's hoping that he's got the hint and that he's not going to propose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, and he didn't prepare her at all for what was coming.
No.
Like, she had a tiny little short skirt on and then
Yeah.
had to climb over the basket. I was like, oh my God. This poor girl is about to flash everybody in on national TV.
Right. Even though she doesn't treat him very well, just in general, like, I think I like her spirit in a lot of ways. I mean, I know she's not the nicest person, but I like that she's adventurous and, you know, she was kind of like, okay, things in Ecuador are sketchy, but, you know, it's an adventure. I like the adventure. I like living too, but, you know.
Right.
Yeah. But I did look up.
Right.
I did look up, you know, how dangerous is a hot air balloon ride? And I think it's something like a 1% fatality rate, which is pretty low. I mean, not that she knew that going into it, but.
Well, first of all, they were only ever like, what, 20, 30 feet off the ground?
Right.
Like, max.
You could jump
But
out
it's
and
like,
probably just break a leg or something.
The way they're constructed, it's not a sealed balloon, right?
Right.
And so it doesn't explode. If there's a leak, there's just a leak and it slowly comes back down. It's not going to have some sort of catastrophic accident.
Right.
I imagine most of the fatalities, in fact, and because that one was tethered, my understanding is the most dangerous part of hot air ballooning is running into power lines.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't go through that much research, but it just said, you know, 1% fatality rate, which I thought was fairly safe. I feel like choking on food is probably a higher fatality rate.
Yeah, the lawnmower is probably more digging that pipe with her dad might have been more dangerous.
Right. Okay, so then the actual proposal happens. Well, after, once again, more fumbling around. The sign's too far away. He didn't really plan that out.
Yeah, she could totally read that sign. She was just like, I'm going to pretend I don't see that.
Yeah, she's like, maybe if I pretend I can't read it. It just didn't happen.
It'll just go away.
Yeah.
Right. So, I don't know about you. I'm strongly against, like, awkward public proposals.
Oh, well, then you probably loved Ben and Akinyi's proposal, which we'll talk about later, because I had thoughts.
Yeah, but I just don't like any kind of proposal that kind of puts extra pressure on the woman to say yes.
Right.
Especially in a situation like that where you know damn well there's a good chance she says no.
Yeah, actually, So she paused for a very, very, very long time before agreeing. And my take on it was she very clearly did not want to say yes. But if you have a camera there, I mean, if I were her and that was really my mindset, I don't want to say yes. I don't want to marry this guy. I would think, okay, just say yes now and then quietly break off the engagement later when the cameras aren't around.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That would be
That's
my
exactly
thought.
What you think.
I mean, I feel like that happens all the time, like on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. They get engaged on camera, and then all of a sudden, a couple months later, they're breaking up. So I feel like it's one of those things where just because you don't want to publicly embarrass the person, you just go along with it. But I mean, even when she was talking about the fact that they were engaged and that she said yes, she also was, you know, kind of implying that the wedding wasn't happening anytime soon.
Right. She was definitely like, well, he was my, like, longtime boyfriend. He can just be my longtime fiance now, too. That's not very different.
Right. So, and I think, like, their status, their relationship status is very unclear right now. So and I think some of it has to do with their NDA. So maybe it'll be a little bit more clear after the season's over. But, I mean, we've talked about, you know, in the weeks past how Corey had blocked her, and then all of a sudden a week later he's professing love for her, and so it's like, are they together? Unknown, at least for now.
Yep. Yeah, well, it seems like based on the previews for next week, there's lots of stuff to learn the next 2 weeks.
Yes, Raul. Oh, Raul. And he's not even the ex that Corey was originally worried about.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's like
Corey should just be concerned about all guys.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, she is. I mean, she's not going to change who she is,
no,
and she's a girl that likes a lot of guys. And so acting like she's going to stop doing that is probably just hurting Corey.
Right. I mean, at least she's been upfront about it. I feel she's been somewhat upfront. I mean, at least she's not one of those people that cheats and just tries to get away with it. But at the same time, I don't know. If you're going to be in a relationship, you shouldn't be cheating. But then at the same time, she is being honest with him. And so he shouldn't be allowing this to happen, and he should leave her.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Mostly her fault,
again,
but definitely I can't have that much sympathy for him.
How many times are you going to get kicked before you realize this person's going to keep kicking you?
Right. So, I mean, he's making an informed decision when he stays with her. So that's why my sympathy isn't so high with him. But, you know, it is a shitty situation for him, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was it for The Other Way.
That was it for The Other Way.
Yeah.
And we got the tell-all starting tonight.
Yes.
So that seems exciting.
So, that'll be interesting. And, you know, I was thinking, we'll have a little bit of downtime and, you know, we'll do some 90-Day Fiance classics. And then, nope, they break out the trailer for 90-Day Fiance starting November 3rd.
November 3rd. And then they said that, with Before the 90 Days is only got 3 more weeks. So that one ends the same night.
Yes. So I was thinking, oh man, we don't get 90-Day Fiance classic then, but it'll happen at some point. I'm sure it'll happen. There'll be a lull at some point. Okay, so moving on to Before the 90 Days, where do you want to start?
Let's start with Angela and Michael.
Okay.
Because I gotta get my blood up.
Okay, you gotta get your blood boiled.
Yeah, I gotta get my blood boiled. That'll really energize the rest of the podcast.
Okay.
So what I was noticing this time is all the times that the people have in the places where they are like hugely different.
Okay.
Angela said that she had just been in Nigeria for just over a week. Mm-hmm. Right. And the other one said a lot longer, 3 weeks, a month or something like that.
It's because she packs a lot of drama in that 1 week.
She sure does.
I was going to say that I actually empathized, or maybe not even empathize is the right word. I understood a little bit more where Angela was coming from this week. I'm not saying it excuses her behavior at all, but at least it gave a little bit of insight as to why she kind of lashes out at people. You know, I felt that she communicated, maybe not directly, kind of in a more indirect way, that she was feeling insecure about not being Nigerian, being too old, not having the approval of the friends, feeling that the friends are going to somehow persuade Michael to leave her. So I feel like a lot of this conflict between Angela and the friends is her insecurities kind of manifesting themselves in the friend. And so she is really just, you know, that's why she's lashing out. That's why she's extra sensitive with the friends.
Yes, but here's my problem. Michael was right to be mad.
Yes.
Michael apologized first. She did not apologize.
That's just his standard. Yeah.
Like, I know it's his standard, and he kind of imported it to his friends, but her apology was not really an apology. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, especially when she got with the friends, and there was a mediator friend.
Right.
The one friend she apparently likes.
Bodie.
Who seemed pretty cool.
Yeah.
But,
he also seemed older. Maybe that's why she likes him.
Yeah, he did seem older. That might be it. But like, her first step off is, we're having this meeting so I can apologize. And her first thing was, I'm not going to apologize for what I said. And it's like, okay, then that's not an apology. You're like, I said the mean things I said, but I wish I said them in a lower tone of voice.
Right.
And that really misses the point of what we're going for. Yes, you were hurt, but it's not okay to lash out, whether you do it loud, quiet, throw drinks, don't throw drinks. It's still lashing out. Yeah.
I mean, I don't agree with her lashing out. And I mean, in the end, I am still team goofball. So, but I kind of understood a little bit, at least, where she was coming from, even, and not from a place of she's just a bully, she's just a mean-spirited person. I mean, this is based in, like I mentioned, insecurities on her part. But I agree with you with the whole, Michael asking for forgiveness first. Because, I mean, I feel like it's just his default. Forgive me, please. I feel like he's always saying that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the thing, too, is like, she was like, and this is something I had thought. She was like, we need to be a little bit more family. We need to have more respect for each other. And I was like, well, you know what? Maybe don't call them the goofballs. Like, don't, like, you're disrespecting them when every single time you refer to them, it's a disrespectful nickname. Like, it's possible to have a group of friends that you call the goofballs because they're your friends and it's, joshing each other. But she's like, that's malicious. She's not doing that out of love.
I don't think that's a terrible name. I'll call myself the goofballs, but yes, I understand what you're saying.
Well, there's lots of things I would call my friends that I would never let somebody else call my friends.
Right.
Like, I'll call my friend an asshole. Like, somebody else calls him an asshole, there might be a problem.
I thought that, Michael did try to stand up for himself and his friends. And, when he was talking with Angela at the very beginning of their segment. But then when they're actually having the carefrontation, he is hard on his friends and he, tells them that they shouldn't have talked to her that way. And he doesn't address how Angela treated them and that they were mostly in a reactionary role in the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was kind of like, okay, Michael, you already admitted that Angela was in the wrong before, but now you're going to be hard on your friends about it. So I felt like he could have been a lot nicer to them. And
yeah, you got to appreciate, and I hope he appreciates his friends just being the bigger men and just, okay, we'll apologize. We'll move on. Everyone should be happy.
Right. The one thing that kind of stood out to me when Angela's like kind of talking about this whole incident that I really feel like she just completely blew up, the pneumonia incident. I feel like if that's all she really wants in the end, is it sounds like someone who's just going to be there for, get an emotional support animal. Wouldn't that just be easier all around?
Right?
Yeah.
That is kind of what I want somebody to snuggle me when I'm sick. You know what does that? A cat.
Yeah.
A dog.
Yeah.
Like a little corgi or something. It'll just snuggle right up to you.
Right.
Pet it right there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and if you get a really smart service animal, maybe that will even wipe her ass when she's older.
I don't know if that's a thing.
Maybe she could train it. I don't know.
Now I have terrible mental pictures that I don't want.
Okay, so in her first season, she asked Michael, are you going to still be with me when I'm old? Are you going to wipe my ass? So, I mean...
That's too much thinking about it, wiping Angela's ass. I don't need
we can
any
move on
of that in my head.
We can move on. Why don't we talk about Omar and Avery, since I believe wasn't a lot of content in there.
No, there really wasn't. Yeah. I mean, it was mostly rehash of, I don't know. I got bored. Like, it was sad and, again, heartbreaking at the airport leaving. But they just said the same thing over and over and over and over again.
Right. What I thought was interesting is now she's talking about, Syria being safe. And now she's concerned about safety when it isn't her and just Omar going there. And it's like she's been telling her mom this entire time, Syria's safe. There's nothing wrong with it. Why are you concerned with me being there? And now she's like, the roles are somewhat reversed and she's, concerned. I may never see Omar again. It's like, well, you're the one saying it's safe.
Right. That's true.
So I was kind of questioning a little bit because, Avery's a little bit younger. I mean, she's 19. So I was thinking, who's paying for Avery's ticket? Because Avery, is young and Omar is a student. I'm sure he doesn't have a ton of money. So, when Avery's mom is saying, I'll do anything that I can, to keep her in the U.S., I was thinking, well, wouldn't it be as easy as not buying her ticket?
That's true. I was looking at, I'm going to come back to this later in the podcast, but I was looking at plane tickets and they are not cheap. I mean, it's not as expensive as you think. It's somewhere in the $600 to $800 range.
Oh yeah. That's not
one
bad.
way. Oh
yeah.
Right. So it'd probably be a little. Yeah. So as far as international flights go, it's not like absurd, but again, she's a 19-year-old with apparently a job that let her leave.
Yeah. I
so
was
don't know
going to
what
say
that
she
is.
had a job, but I mean, unless she'd been saving this entire time, which I don't know.
Well,
Maybe she is responsible.
Because
enough
apparently
to save.
she told her job she's going to Syria, so
Yeah.
that meant she quit her job,
Yes.
and not that they gave her some sort of leave of absence.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know where a 19-year-old without a job gets money to buy plane tickets.
Right.
So that's a good point that I hadn't thought of. Yeah, and yeah, that would be an easy way to stop her from going. And I don't blame her. Like, if I'm like, listen, you're an adult, you can do what you want, but I'm not going to pay for you to go to a war zone.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
If you can make it happen on your own, good luck.
So there's a lot of Syrian activity right now. So I
Yeah.
did look up, how safe Omar's city of Latakia really is. And for the most part, the only mention in any kind of news source said that there have been a couple raids, but it's and a couple like military people have been killed. But it doesn't sound like any of the civilians have been involved. But I mean, I think the point is that you can't say that any place is 100% safe right now because they are in a war zone. And even though, they might not be targeting civilians specifically, I mean, things could go south. You just don't know. And that's scary. And I think she needs to really seriously consider that. But I would say that when I saw pictures of Latakia, it was gorgeous.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, because it's a
my
port
understanding
town.
it's a port city.
Yes, yeah, it was. The pictures were beautiful.
Yeah, so my understanding with how the war went is early in the war, since it was a major port, the Assad regime, backed up by Russia, pretty much came in and secured Latakia real fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then since then, it's been, quote unquote peaceful, basically, supported by the Russian military. But that's one of those things that situation can change anytime.
Yeah. Yeah. They just, when they said goodbye, it was just so sweet. And it seemed really obvious that they had a genuine love for one another that I really hope things work out for them.
Yeah, they really do. They seem to be, of all the couples, they seem to be the most genuinely in love of what I would consider to be in love.
Yeah.
And Omar's just a sweetheart. And he's like, I don't cry, but the eyes don't lie.
Oh, when he said that, I was like, oh, melt my heart. I mean, they do seem the most in love. But cynical old me is because, they're young and stupid. That's why they seem the most in love.
Clearly. Absolutely.
Later on in life, when they see shit, it'll be a different story.
That's right. Who's going to play with your beard? And it's going to be like, could you shave your damn sketchy ass beard?
Oh, yeah. So sweet. All right. Who do you want to talk about next?
All right. I kind of was all the other ones are pretty fun.
Yeah.
Let's do Tim and Jennifer.
Okay. What part of Tim and Jennifer do you want to talk about first? Because I feel like a lot of things happened.
There was a lot of things that happened. So he starts off talking with Veronica.
Okay, so we'll start off. Yeah, start from the beginning, sure.
Start from there. That seems like a good place to start. And basically is like, do you think this is a good idea? It seems like he wanted just reassurance.
Yes.
And she basically came again with, you haven't had sex yet.
Yeah, I was kind of bothered by that because it's like, there are plenty, I wouldn't say it's the majority, but, there's plenty of people, and mostly for religious reasons, who get married before having sex. So it's not this completely unheard of thing. It isn't like a significant milestone before you get to marriage. So I don't know.
I don't know. That usually scans, again, like Omar and Avery, with people who are young and stupid. Once people have been in relationships and been around, it does seem weird to, once the whole I'm saving myself for marriage is that ship has sailed. It seems weird to then like resave myself with this person for marriage.
Yeah. And newsflash, Jennifer's not a virgin. She has a child.
She has a child. And she's throwing herself at you, so she's probably not.
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
what I thought was interesting about Veronica being just, what do you mean you're thinking about engagement? It's like, how did you not know this was going on? You gave him the engagement ring. How did you not know that this was a thought in Tim's mind and that he was seriously considering this? And then she's all acting like, what? He's trying to propose to her? This is too soon. It's like you gave him the ring.
I think what happened was that after he got to Colombia, I mean, what the communication that we see with Tim and Veronica is clearly not the whole
Right.
A whole story. And I think she's just been hearing update after update about how it's not going well.
Yeah.
And they're fighting all the time. And then the next thing she hears from him is, oh, I think I'm going to propose. And she's like, wait, what?
Well, he's running out of time. He's getting 39.
Right. 39.
Right.
Um,
when he said that, it really bothered me as someone who is approaching that age, because I just feel like that is when people settle, is because they feel like they've reached this age that they should be with someone. And it's kind of like that whole analogy of like the taxi cab having the light on. It's like your light is on, so whoever's the next to hop in, that's who you're with.
That's it.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with quality. It's just whoever happened to be there.
Right, because once you hit 40, you just, I don't know, turn into a pumpkin or something.
He
I don't know what
it's
they think
his last
happens.
chance. So, I mean, I
Well,
think
he's not the only one.
Yeah, but I think he thinks like something weird happens at 40 where all of a sudden you become undesirable to everyone. And you just got to lock it down with whoever.
Yeah, especially as a man. I mean, there's no distinguished older men who still get women. That's not a thing at all.
I know. I was thinking, guys are lucky. They don't have that whole like old maid,
right.
thing.
No, you get to be a confirmed bachelor.
Right.
I say that's usually what they said when they were gay.
Silver fox.
Right. So that's better. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. He wore a sweater. Just quick side note. I think he
For
needs...
a little bit.
Yeah, I think he needs to wear things that go below his elbow. It brings less attention to the fact that his elbow is in a weird spot. Because I was like, oh, with the sweater on, not so bad.
Needs faux elbows on his sweaters that they get lower
Make
than
the
his actual elbow.
patches like he should wear something with elbow patches that are just lower on the sweater. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, they probably would be if they're made for... not custom made. Oh.
But that's okay. So then they went on this romantic picnic.
Yes.
Which seemed really nice. It was a beautiful view.
Right.
And it was funny because they were on the way, and I was like, I wrote down, well, at least he didn't blindfold her. And then he made a joke about, maybe I should have blindfolded you.
Oh, goodness.
Why are we blindfolding people when we're taking them places?
I don't know.
Stop it.
I don't know. Especially because, it's her country. It's not a surprise. She's probably been
that was
there
funny
before, maybe.
Yeah, and I think, she was like, I know where we're going. But it was funny because even Evelyn, like, she was blindfolded, and she was like, but we're right here. Like, she knew exactly where they were. Like, she could tell by the turns.
I thought it was interesting that she decides to wear heels this day, but when they're on a paved road, she's wearing...
It's sneakers. Yeah.
So, heels I thought was a poor choice, but not that she
that was
knew
a
where
poor
they
choice.
were going, so...
Right. It's again, you got to let them know. You got to
Yeah.
let people know when they're going to be climbing into, going over fields or climbing into baskets.
Right, right. So what did you think of Jennifer mentioning that she thought he was gay at some point?
I don't know. It's in bad taste, but not unreasonable. Like, if you're Jennifer and you're going with your life experience, and a man doesn't even want to touch you, even after you're basically throwing yourself at him for weeks, and he's still like, and it's not even like touch. It's like he doesn't like touch her. Mm-hmm. Not just sex. Like, when they're sitting there together, they're sitting next to each other. They don't touch.
Right.
He doesn't have his arm around her. They kiss every once in a while, but he's not very, touchy. And that's not something that she's used to at all. Plus all the spa buddy stuff that goes on.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure it was just editing, but he didn't really have like an immediate like, no, I'm not gay reaction. And he just looked confused.
Oh, he's heard it before. Come on. There's no way people have not thought he was gay before.
True. So actually, that kind of brings us to, just making mention of him being gay, possibly being gay. They didn't have sex again. It was because he
fell asleep.
Yes, because he was too tired. She turns around, he's asleep. And kind of going back to what you said about her kind of throwing herself at him. My take on it isn't that she's just so attracted to him that she just, has to have him right here, right now. That is not my take on it at all. I feel like the fact that they haven't had sex, it kind of is ego bruising to her. And it's like this rejection. She just needs this affirmation, like he wants me. And the fact that he's not, doing anything that kind of makes it seem like he wants her just makes her want his affirmation even more. But it's not that she is so attracted to him that she just must tear his clothes off right now.
Oh, I 100% agree. It's totally a form of rejection that she is not used to at all. And she doesn't quite know how to deal with it. And she just wants it to go away. And that's one way to make it go away. But it's funny that you mentioned that he fell asleep right away, because I have a little, mini life lesson, teachable moment for them. You can have sex in the day. You don't have to wait till nighttime. It's not like everything's locked up until the sun goes down.
It's not like midnight strikes and everybody's genitals turns to pumpkins.
Exactly. It's once the sun goes down, everything becomes unlocked, and everything, all the stuff goes away, and then you're free to have sex.
Oh,
You can have sex in the daytime. It's goodness. Totally fine.
Yeah. I mean, they could have been doing that instead of the spa day.
I mean, I would rather be doing that instead of a spa day, but...
Well, I don't think Tim would. I think he really enjoys his spa days.
Well, if they were doing that, she might not have asked about where he got the ring.
Yes, true.
Which, hold on, we skipped a part.
Yes.
Tell me what that ring was again?
Oh, it was a promise ring.
A promise ring.
A promise of
because
what?
He's a high school freshman, apparently.
I know.
And he needs to give her a promise ring.
Promises are very easily broken.
Right. Especially it's like an engagement is a promise ring. An engagement is promising to marry someone. So it's like, promise ring. Oh my God. I could not get over that.
Right. But I did think Jennifer was very realistic about it. And she even says, agrees that an engagement is too soon. And so I was like, okay, at least she's... And once again, kind of going back to that whole, just because she's been feeling rejected, kind of wanting more just to feel reassured and reaffirmed. So I could see her just wanting the engagement, not because she actually wants to be engaged to Tim, but she wants to know that he really loves her.
Right. Well, and she can't imagine. I get from her perspective, I can't imagine believing someone really loves you and not wanting to be intimate with you.
Yeah.
That doesn't scan.
Right. Okay, so she's asking him about the ring during spa day. Did you notice he had a vape pen?
Oh, he's been carrying that around a long time.
Oh my gosh, gross.
He fidgets with it a lot. When they were talking earlier in the episode, in the morning when he was making her breakfast, she had it. And she was playing with it.
Oh, so she vapes too?
No, it was his vape pen. I think she was just
because they can be gross together.
Playing with it.
It's gross. I even put in my notes, vape pen, ... gross.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's better than all the other chain smokers. There's so many
that's true.
Smokers.
That's true. So she asks about the ring.
Mm-hmm. And he spills the beans, smartly spills the beans, because she was going to find out regardless. And so you might as well come out with it now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is being recorded. Yeah, it's being filmed. I mean, it was on one of the first episodes that he was on before he ever went to Columbia. Yes, I appreciate that he didn't think he could get away with it. I mean, I think that's dumb when anyone's on TV thinks they can get away with anything that was filmed.
Right. So he tells her that the ring came from Veronica.
Yes, Veronica.
And Veronica. And she gives it back.
Yes, I would have too.
Yeah, it's not like, if it was your grandmother's ring,
right,
or some sort of family heirloom, or had special meaning, but not just this is a ring that got rejected and handed back to me.
Right.
I'll give it to you now.
I mean, she brings
That
up a
is
good point. You know, he was thinking about Veronica when he went to buy the ring. You know, why would she want that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's a little harsh to call it her trash, but
Yeah.
it's not that far off the mark.
No, I agree. I thought it was funny when she says, or Tim says something about him being the girl in the relationship. And I was thinking,
Yeah,
yep,
he says
because you're wearing the girl pants.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, and that was funny because he said that when he like walked away in girl jeans and like a tank top.
Yeah.
And she was like wearing like a plaid
Right.
outfit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah. I guess he must say like, I feel like the girl, and she was like, you are the girl.
Yes. I was thinking if the pants
Which,
fit.
you know, yeah, I don't like to break it down in that grossly misogynistic way, but like it's, yeah, he is taking the role in that relationship that is stereotypically given to the girl.
Right. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so who do you want to move on with next?
Let's do Darcy and Tom.
Oh, Darcy. Darcy and her fashion choices.
Right?
She was like
Okay.
Jessica Rabbit meets Dominatrix.
Did she know where she was going? Because I guess they knew they were going dancing. But I
Right.
think she was like, you know, dancing just means like grinding on somebody, right? Because that's all she was equipped to do. Like she was not equipped to do any kind of dancing.
You mean with her fashion choices? Because I feel
Yes.
like if you had told her she was going to church, she would be wearing the same outfit. I feel like Darcy has no fashion sense and appropriateness, so I don't think it would make a difference where she was going. She's still going to want to have boobs out wherever they are.
Yeah, just physics defying boobs.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how they stay in. Giant heels
have
on
no
boots
idea.
that she's still, if she wears heels all the time, why can't she balance on them? Why is she so clumsy in heels? Aren't you supposed to get better with those as you wear them more?
I don't know. I can say that I wear a lot of heels and they're not stable. You know, you can get better at them, but they're not the most stable of all things. So, yeah.
Well, especially when you're half in the bag all the time like Darcy is.
Oh, goodness.
So my question, and I could not decide on an answer for this.
Okay.
Is Tom a good dancer?
Okay, that's an interesting question. I would say that he was a better salsa dancer than he was a cricket player, but I don't think
Yes.
that's saying a whole lot. There were times he's a confident dancer, and I think that's a lot of what dancing is not looking like you're awkward. And so, yeah, I think his confidence maybe plays up his skills. But I don't know. I don't see him being like a competitive dancer. I mean, he didn't seem as good as you would think someone who's been dancing seriously for 20 years.
Right. So I couldn't tell. So I had to try to keep I tried to replay it and put my thumb over his dopey face.
Yeah.
Because looking at his dopey face, you're like, that guy's not dancing well because he has a stupid dopey face. So I just try to pay attention to his body. And then I was like, well, you know, he can't be that bad of a dancer. I mean, he looked, to my unexpert eye, and I am no dancer, he looked adequate.
Yeah.
I guess is a way to put it.
I mean, he wasn't off
and-
rhythm or anything.
Yeah, and but there's so many women dancing with him, and it took me a while to figure out that's because there were no other men there. Like they had to dance with him, or
Right.
they didn't dance with anybody.
Well, I don't know. He had a good-looking friend. Was it Carlos? If I had to pick between
well,
Carlos and Tom, I would pick Carlos.
Well, yeah, but Carlos is already taken. Tom's left, and there's a stable full of 10 other women that don't have a partner.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Tom it is.
Yeah, Darcy's dancing was pretty bad. It was basically just hanging on him while drunk.
Well, yeah, she was trying to do grind on the club and make out, quote unquote, dancing.
Right.
And he was like, no, I actually like dancing. I'm going to dance.
Yes.
And when we got to salsa dancing, Tom's Spanish better than half the people that live in Latin America.
Yeah. But she asks, why doesn't he dance like that with me? And it's like, because he can't dance like that with you.
so it's funny because she kept looking at people being like, I'm better than her. It's like, I'm better than her. It's like,
Gosh.
oh, Darcy and your self-awareness.
I don't understand how she can be so delusional and insecure, like literally in the same breath. She's telling, I think Emma, I guess, maybe, I don't remember who she was talking to. She was like, she can see that maybe it was in her interview, that she can see he has love for her in his eyes. And then 2 seconds later, she's, why is he dancing with other women? It's like, well, if you can really see love in his eyes, why are you concerned that he's dancing with other women?
And it wasn't like ultra sexy dancing. It was just,
No.
I don't know. But I feel like Tom set her up. Like, he knew exactly how that was going to go down.
Oh, sure.
And he knew it was going to make her jealous.
Yeah.
And did it anyway and did not warn her, like, I'm going to be dancing with a bunch of other women because that's the way salsa dancing works.
Right.
Like, it's...
I liked Emma, like, saying all the hard truths. Darcy's naive, thinking she's not jealous. It's like, yep.
That was funny.
That was really obvious.
I'm not jealous, but why is he with those other women?
Yeah.
It's like in the same breath. Like,
maybe you don't know what jealousy means. Maybe.
I'm not scared of heights, but I don't want to go to the top of that tower. Like,
I thought it was nice that Emma was trying to help Darcy kind of through her crisis of emotions.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she was. I have a lot to say about Emma. I really liked what she did this episode, which is good because she got a lot of crap last episode.
Yeah.
And they definitely made it look. Again, the previews every time you saw her coming up really put her in the worst light. And then when she was actually in her scene, she was much, much better.
Yeah. So Darcy says something that gave me the tiniest glimmer of hope that she's kind of getting it when she's talking about, that Tom has been her dream man, but she really needs to put some reality into it. She says that one thing and I'm like, yes, Darcy. But, it's just one of those things where I feel like I got a glimmer of hope, but overall,
Spark of
yep,
hope.
Exactly. I don't think it's going to last. She's just too far gone down that delusional road. So Emma gave her some good advice and said, if you're really concerned about being exclusive, you should just ask him. Just point blank,
communication.
ask him.
How about that?
Yeah. So
communicate with the person you're with. It turns out we can talk and our mouths work and we can
Right.
convey ideas.
and I don't have to read your mind or your eyes that tell me that you love me.
Eyes, the burning eyes of love.
Well, according to Omar, the eyes don't lie.
The eyes don't lie.
Yeah.
And sometimes Darcy has some crazy eyes.
Yeah. Well, Tom, maybe it's harder for Tom since he wears those thick glasses.
Those thick glasses
Yeah.
and squints, tries to make that posh.
He's trying to hide his truth.
I'm making the faces over here. I'm squinting my eyes like people can see me.
So she finally asks, and then Tom doesn't give her a straight answer right away. Instead, he says, exclusive. Is this an American thing?
Yeah, there's no way he did not know what exclusive meant. Or is he implying that all British people are in open relationships? Like, what?
Or people that are not in the U.S.
Relationship?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, only Americans have monogamy. Yeah, everybody else is just, screwing everybody.
That was a bizarre reaction.
It was. And was like, but if you read your assurance.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, he finally says that they are exclusive. And then 2 seconds later, she's saying, oh, okay, so we're exclusive. Then I should be getting a proposal soon.
Right. Because that's just the progression.
Right. And then I thought, oh, God, some things never change. I saw that glimmer of hope. And then, all went away when she's bringing up the proposal again. Has she learned nothing? Probably not.
Probably not.
All right. Rebecca and Zied?
Sure. Yeah, I'm gonna start at the end because
Okay.
I am excited to get to it. Zied climbing on the bitch seat of the ATV and driving away is the funniest thing I've seen on this show yet.
Did you notice that he had that lit cigarette in his mouth and he got so close to that driver's scarf that I was like, oh my God, they're going up in flames right now.
Oh, he just climbed in on the bitch seat and was like, let's go.
Let's ride.
And he was so much bigger than the driver and he was in the back. Oh my God.
That's his ride or die bitch.
Could not stop laughing. I had to pause the show.
Yeah. Okay, but let's talk about how we actually got there. So Rebecca doesn't want to tell Ziad she's still married, and it was like very like Summit, where she just wants to have one more peaceful day with him.
Right.
So she just puts it off, puts it off. And so then she finally gets around to telling him. And I feel like, I don't know, my take on it.
She didn't do a good job.
Yes. And I feel like that was somewhat intentional. Maybe I'm a little cynical, but I kind of felt like she was using big words, being very roundabout, because she has to know that his English is awful. Like, just so awful. So I feel like she was trying to use this tactic of, let's confuse him with these. She even says, technically. Right. Do you think Ziad knows what technically means?
Right.
No.
She's like, the litigation in process in the court system. And you're like, what?
Like, this is, okay, if she really wanted him to get the message, this is what she should have said. Me married so much. That would have got the point across.
So much married.
So much married.
He's like, you now a woman married? Like, yeah, but she did a bad job because his English is so bad and because the way she told him, I don't know that he realizes what the situation is.
Oh, I didn't either.
That she's been separated with this guy. They are not together. They signed the papers. It's just they're waiting for the court to stamp it. Like, that's all they're doing.
Right.
And so, but she makes it look like, but the way he was like, but you're married? Are you still married? This is not your ex? I don't think he gets that. He thinks like she's legit like married and she like left the house to come with him. It's
so like having an affair.
I'm still married versus my divorce isn't final yet. Are two different things.
So what I'm kind of finding about this is, depending on who you ask, people have very differing ideas of how bad this is. So I feel like, as someone myself who has never been married to someone before, and I have dated guys who have told me they are divorced, and then I find out, a little bit into it, like maybe a month or so in, that they filed for divorce, but their divorce isn't finalized. And I, as a person who has never been through divorce, like, my thought is, you're not divorced. Like, yes, you filed for divorce. I get that your relationship is over. I'm not concerned that your ex is in the picture. That's not what this is about. But you're still married, and there's something weird about that. I just feel like it should be a clean break before you start dating anybody else. I feel like you need to just kind of, I don't know, get your shit together and like get your house in order before you start like another relationship. And so, Ziad hasn't been married before, so I don't know, maybe I'm projecting, but maybe he kind of thinks of it the same way. I actually agree with you that I don't think he quite fully understands what this situation is, but even if he did know what the situation is, as someone who hasn't gone through divorce themselves, would you take it a little bit more negatively than someone who has been through divorce? Because I feel like people who have been through divorce don't think it's such a big deal. Their thought is, I filed for divorce, like, we're done.
Right. So, yeah, that is kind of an annoying thing as someone who has been through a divorce, is that you kind of feel like, well, before you even go and sign the paperwork, it's already done. The relationship is already over. And then there is that weird lag, and it depends on state to state how much that lag is between when you sign the papers. And that's it. A lot of times you sign the papers and that's it. You're done. You don't have to see each other ever again. But that lag between there and when it's officially filed, and there's thing is when you do that, there's nothing that you do. You're just waiting on the courts to do it. Now, that said, again, it varies from state to state. That lag is like a month. It's not like, and like, so it's one thing to, start dating someone, start looking into it in that month, and go to Tunisia hoping that they propose to you.
Yeah.
Because she filed that paperwork. That was like the last thing she did before she got on the plane.
Well, okay, so maybe I'm confused. When filing the paperwork, my impression was that she filed for divorce. So this wasn't like signing the final paperwork. Question mark?
That's what the filing is. And you can do it one of two ways. Because when you file the paperwork, the one party asks for the divorce and the other party responds to it. And once they respond to it, that's when it goes into the process. There's usually a hearing. But if you want to do it quick, and she said they as sounded like she did with her ex, you just go in at the same time and you sign your response right there at the same time. And then there's no lag. You just wait for the court to set your hearing date and then file the paperwork.
Sure. I feel like if I were Zied, that my question would be like, how long have we been talking? Shouldn't you have done this before? Like, you were actively looking to date someone. Why weren't you filing back then? You know, okay, now you found someone. Why didn't you file then? Okay, now you're actually meeting this person and with the expectation of they're farther enough in their relationship where he is preparing himself to propose to her. You know, why is this just happening now? Like, there's so many things. If it was truly, truly over, like, why were you being lazy about this paperwork? And especially coming from him, like, he is really trying to get to America. The fact that she's still married puts a damper on his part of the plan. You know?
It sure does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's very much like, why didn't you do it before? And another thing is, it's a big deal because she made it a big deal.
Oh, yes.
Like, if she had been open about it and just been like, oh, well, technically my marriage isn't final yet. I don't even talk to the guy anymore. We're just waiting on the courts. And she said that, I don't know, 5 months ago, then it wouldn't be a big deal. But clearly, by hiding it and like revealing it right at the last minute like that, you made it a big deal.
Right.
You made it a bigger deal than it needs to be.
Yeah. And then he reacts, and actually he didn't react as crazy as I thought he could have reacted, considering how jealous and some weird, that weird like head hold thing last week. So I felt like he was going to go crazy. But instead, I was actually kind of surprised that he was more of an avoider of conflict. And he just, wanted time by himself. And she was like not about that. She wanted to be all up in his business, didn't want to leave him alone. It's just like, give him his space. Like, this is a lot to process right now.
Yeah. That's a bomb, and you dropped it, and you gotta let the dust settle.
Yeah, you gotta let him ride away into the sunset on his ATV.
Right, which makes me, I don't know, because we didn't hear last week there was some sort of blow up incident. We didn't actually hear him blowing up. Right. But then she said, "This is the maddest I've ever seen him," and he was super mad, but he wasn't scary or violent or anything like that. I mean, he took his time and he did get his stuff together, going to have his cigarette, and that makes sense. So I was a little bit surprised based on her. I'm seeing flashes of my jealous ex, my controlling ex, if this is as bad as it gets.
Yeah, that's very true. So, he had some great quotes, though. I finished this relation, of course. So I think they're broken up.
I mean, he was in the previews next week, like talking to her. So they're gonna they're gonna drag him back.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
This is not normal. I know, accept this.
You could tell, because his English got as bad as his English usually is. Yeah. It just got worse.
Oh gosh, yes. He's like, what negative words do I know?
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Which surprisingly, he didn't know any of the cuss words.
Yeah, usually that's the first thing.
Yeah, you learn cuss words pretty early.
Yeah, but they would have bleeped it out anyway.
Sure.
All right,
last one.
Yep, there was a lot.
Oh, and it's a juicy one.
Yep.
We got this one.
What were with those pink kid shoes on the poles right behind Benjamin's head?
I did not see that at all.
When he was on the rooftop, I was like, my eyes were immediately drawn to it. Like, whose kid? And whose shoes? And why are on these poles on the second floor? Because, she was struggling to get up those stairs. So they were definitely not on the ground floor.
No. Oh, yeah. I don't know. That whole conversation was weird. Yes. I don't like Akinyi when she cries.
I don't think any man likes any woman when they cry.
I don't know. Hers is a particularly juvenile cry. It's not a, I'm really upset. It's like, are you gonna leave me? Like, I don't. Yeah.
Well, the reason why I say men don't like when women cry is because it seems to me that men will try to do anything to make them stop crying. Like
marry them?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Don't do that, man.
Because I felt like that's what happened. Like, he was trying to have a serious conversation with her, like, and be communicative. He wasn't saying, that he wouldn't marry her, but he was saying, like, this is not the timeline I thought was happening. This is kind of a scary thought. You haven't met Grayson, so the fact that we're going to be married tomorrow wasn't necessarily in the plan. And then she starts crying, and then he goes, oh, no, it's okay. We'll get married.
Right. Yeah, oh man, I hope that's not how all of his relationship go, or the rest of this one goes, because that's not going to go well.
But he does seem kind of a pushover like that. Like, if she starts crying, I feel like whether she's really emotional or she's being manipulative, I don't know, but, I feel like she could get her way. Just cry a little, and Benjamin I don't feel like he's going to handle that situation very well, and... Akini gets
No,
away.
he obviously doesn't. He didn't handle her being a little bit drunk. He didn't handle her crying a little bit. Like, anything that's not just flat, boring emotion.
He is kind of boring.
Where you say things like, this whole situation is a difficult conundrum. He's such a dweeb.
He really is. Oh, goodness. Okay, how much sausage do two people need to eat for breakfast?
Well, I'm looking at Benjamin's waistline, and I think I figured out where it came from. So that's a lot. That was a lot of sausage.
How much is Akini eating out of all that? One?
Right?
The rest is for Benjamin?
I got to give it to a dog, I guess. It was a lot. It was a whole plate of sausage,
I was like,
man.
oh, is Akini's family coming over? That was my first thought was, that's part of like this tradition. They have to like make them breakfast.
Right. But no, instead they had to go visit them.
Yeah. But going back to what you were saying about Akinyi does not tell him anything. So she asks him how much he's bringing to this bride price ceremony. And he says 80,000 shilling, which is about $770. And then she just tells him it's not enough. And then he says,
right.
Well, how much do you think I should bring? And she goes, I don't know. But then in her interview, she's saying, 3,000 would have been appropriate.
She immediately has a price.
Yes.
He's been asking her for the price since day one.
Right.
What's a good price? She's like, I don't know. It's money. I don't know. And then immediately when they interview her, she's like, 3,000.
Yeah.
At least 3,000.
That made
that's what we're going for.
Sense to me. Yes, definitely.
Like, oh my God.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. So he clearly doesn't have that.
Oh, no, he doesn't.
He clearly does not have that much money.
He doesn't. So he tries to do the proposal thing, which I was confused because does he have to... Because my thought was that the bride price negotiation was kind of their way of asking for a blessing. So I feel like he's doing this kind of backwards. Like, shouldn't you get the blessing first before you actually propose to her and give her the ring?
Well, no, it seems that, I don't know, from what I gather from the show is they say it's pretty much is backwards. Is you don't even introduce somebody to your family until it's like a done deal. Like, that's the last step.
Okay. Okay.
And so the fact that she brought him home was like, this is a person I am really seriously considering marrying.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, that seems like another... Right, like, because earlier we talked about Veronica and being like, how can you marry somebody you never had sex with?
Yeah.
And I'm like, how could you marry somebody whose parents you've never met? Oh my God.
Well, if you never have to see them, Yeah,
I guess, but man, I gotta know if they're gonna keep bilking me for money.
Right. I thought this was low key the most disastrous proposal I've seen. It was, but low key, it wasn't like obvious, like things are on fire, like people are crying, Well, maybe the fact that she wasn't crying was the problem, but the things that I kind of like rounded up that made this low key disaster was it just wasn't romantic. It was just like in their kitchen. It wasn't especially sweet. He didn't really say much. And then she wasn't even moved enough to cry. And I mean, she kept on saying that. She was like, I thought I would be crying now, but I'm not.
Why am I not crying?
Yeah. And then the ring didn't fit.
He didn't even get on one knee right away. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I'm with you.
Right.
I'm with you. It was just kind of like, you're getting married, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was.
Oh, here's a ring. Oh, it doesn't fit. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't fit. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like low key disaster.
So, okay, then it was the next day they went to the thing, or he did
I
that
think
in
it was
the
the
morning
same
before they
day.
went?
Yeah, sausage in the
Okay.
morning, 11 o'clock. They're supposed to be at Akinyi's
At 11
house,
o'clock, they're
or
supposed to be there.
parents' house.
All right. Yeah, Akinyi's parents' house. And then they get in these just very colorful matching outfits.
Oh, God. She looked great. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
she looks beautiful. Like the color was like great against her skin. And I mean, the pattern didn't look so weird on her. And then Benjamin,
Oh my God.
I was like, what
Benjamin.
are you wearing? It was like crazy pajamas. I couldn't
Right.
figure out what his outfit
was.
was. Like, I feel like those are the kinds of things they make like busboys wear in some ethnic restaurant. You know, is just everything about it was just so weird looking on him. But she looked great. Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to make this point too, because before they got there, they're about to do the bride price ceremony, which, super romantically treats, your wife like a business transaction. But then he does this thing, and he used the worst analogy I can ever remember. And he says, it's like a marathon. I've turned the corner and can see the finish line, but I don't know if I'm finishing or not. And I'm like, if you see the finish line in a marathon, you're finishing. You're almost done. Like, you're going to get there.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah.
But, so it seemed really weird that they were like, we have to be there by 11. And he showed up and everybody was like, you're 2 hours late.
I thought it was 11 or after 11 that they showed up.
It was.
So are you saying that
was.
they showed up at 1?
Yeah, because he said, because the father said something about it being afternoon.
Oh, okay.
And how he expected him to be there at 11. He was like, well, good afternoon. He was like, we were expecting you at like 11. I was like, oh. Oops. Right. So he just got off on the wrong foot with the whole bride price negotiation.
Yeah. He's just ruining this whole thing.
And he's super, super awkward. Clearly has no idea what to say, no idea what he's doing. Doesn't know, the protocols of what to say this and what you offer now, and like the father is clearly talking in some sort of code that he just does not get.
Yeah. So then Benjamin feels like this is the time for him to present all the groceries that he bought. And then the dad tells him, Papa Akinyi tells him, yeah, this is like for a funeral.
Right. Which is
this is what you do, right, when you're in mourning.
Which is the most confusing thing, because he didn't do that of his own volition. Akinyi was with him.
Right.
To buy the groceries. She told him exactly what to buy.
Oh, I kind of feel like she knows more than she lets on, and it kind of makes me suspicious. Is she steering him wrong? Is she really that clueless, or is she really trying to just sabotage him?
Right, because it just goes, every single thing that she ever does or says just makes situations worse. And it very much seems like she was sabotaging.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the impression I got. So then dad appears to just stop the negotiations by calling her in.
Yeah.
So she's not supposed to be there. And so the fact that she is there makes it seem like the negotiations are over.
Very much so. And that's where they left it, right?
Yes, they did leave it. But once again, the rumor is that he applied for her visa back in April. So, I mean, things must have gone okay.
Right. Nothing that a few more dollars couldn't solve, I'm sure.
Right.
Because that's what she was like. She was like, he clearly didn't have the money, but is there like some sort of like down payment and like financing option for the bride price? Because I don't know if they'd take it over time.
Yeah, that's actually interesting because there was another couple, David and Annie, on a few seasons ago where David was just absolutely broke and he was borrowing money from his friend Chris. And so he kind of made these promises about what he would give eventually. So maybe there is room for negotiation you owe us this much. You're going to be making monthly payments for the rest of your life. I don't know. But I think you can possibly negotiate that. And maybe that's how Benjamin got out of this.
We will see, I guess.
Yes, we shall see. All right. So I was so happy. Maybe that's why this week was so great. No Caesar. Yay.
Right. He's back next week, but this time we're free. Was he the only one that wasn't in this week?
On before the 90 days, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Which like I said, was fine with.
Mm-hmm.
Want more of that. Listen to us, Sharp. No more Caesar.
No more Caesar.
Ever.
Just make sure, free advice to Matt Sharp because he needs it from us.
Of course.
Right, of course. Is make sure you have both of the people on camera at some point before you decide to edit our story.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I know before the 90 days is maybe more of that will they catfish kind of situation. Because I actually was, I think when I was watching the show last night, there was a brief ad about TLC casting. So I was curious and I went to it. And in the description before the 90 days, it was specifically like you have never met before. And so, if you haven't met before, you don't really know if this person is real. So I get that, but at the same time, I don't want to see it. So I feel like you have to get to the point where you've vetted it enough. And like you said, if they're both not in it, then cut them from the show completely. We don't need to see that.
Yes. Yeah, I bet they have plenty of material to fill all of Caesar scenes.
Yes, they do. I mean, they had 7 couples? Well, I mean, Caesar's not a couple. 6 couples plus 1.
Yeah, that's plenty. I'm sure they had plenty.
Yeah. And I mean, and let's be real here too. It's a 2-hour show. I mean, not everything in that 2 hours are, gems. So why don't we make it an hour and a half show?
I hear you.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to our closing segments. Star students.
This week I have Devin. Because I like that whole growth mindset. She started off like being kind of iffy, maybe even a little bit of a negative attitude with their Korean style wedding, but she went along with it. She ended up having a lot of fun. And I think she would say really positive things about the experience. And so I always appreciate those students who keep an open mind and turn it around. Right.
Yeah, I hear that. And I feel like a lot of other scenarios, you can really ruin the whole thing by not playing along and not like honestly trying to get into it. And I thought she did a great job and made the whole experience, great for everybody. So good choice. Good choice.
What about you?
My star student this week is Emma, because I appreciate Emma bringing the truth to Darcy.
Yeah.
And one thing we didn't talk about that I really appreciated that she brought up, I don't know, it was kind of what they said in the previews where she kept saying kept man, which is a weird way to say it. But
yes,
once you get to that age, our age, Darcy's age, you're going to get and you're going to be together with somebody who already has a life. And like, if you're looking for that kind of person that's going to be your whole world, that's not going to be a healthy relationship at this point. And so, kind of putting that out that like, you can't expect to get somebody, let alone Tom, to give up his entire life for you. I thought was really, really a good insight on her part. And that was one of the ones we didn't talk about. We talked about a lot of the other good insights that she had. I thought she really, really brought the truth this week.
Yeah. Kept man always makes me think of like someone who grooms himself. I don't know. That's how I like it.
That's a well-kept man.
Oh.
Yeah, so an unkept man. Yeah, that's the opposite.
Right. Okay, so who do you have this week for class dunce?
All right, I am putting on broad strokes Akini's whole family, but specifically her father. Because I think he's being really unfair to somebody that he knows doesn't know the rules of his game. Like he knows Benjamin is, not from there. He knows he's unfamiliar with the culture. He knows he's kind of piecing it together, but he's still like doing this intimidating thing. Oh, I'm so disappointed that you did not say the proper words in the proper order, and these are not how things are done. When he knows that he doesn't know how things are done, like that, he's being extremely unfair. And I don't know. I always don't like it when men try to intimidate other men, especially the generational thing. And he's clearly just trying to sit there and be a super intimidating guy. And that's something that always turns me off with my fellow guys.
But I think also Benjamin's easily intimidated.
Also true.
Yeah, picking off the week, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, life lesson.
You go first.
Okay, so, there have been multiple people who have mentioned this on the show and refer to like the country that they're in or their country that they're partners from as a third world country. And this just kind of, really kind of, I get that like cringy face when I think about that, because I don't think they know historically like what that is referring to. It's kind of Cold War era. It's referring to countries that don't have capitalism or communism. And so, it's really kind of an economy, but it doesn't necessarily mean poor. And I think people use it to say they're coming from a poor country. The appropriate term for it would be a developing country. So yes, third world country does not mean poor. If you want to refer it to as such, use the term developing country.
All right. I like it. Good lesson. My life lesson comes from Avery, and that is to shop better for plane tickets, because she got on the plane and said it's a 30-hour flight. Yeah. And then she got off the plane and said she was traveling for 50 hours. So I did some research.
Oh my goodness.
I looked at flights from Beirut to Columbus, and the cheapest flight that wasn't like, one of those Delta flights where you have to like, eat your luggage and carry it in your stomach before you get there.
Yeah.
That wasn't one of those flights where you actually got to check a bag or something. It was about a 30-hour flight. It was one of the longer ones. If you spent a little bit of money, you could go, but we're assuming that she's probably taking the cheapest option here. And that took them it went from Beirut to Doha in Qatar, and then to JFK, and then to Columbus, right? So the only way you do 50 hours is to spend like $200 more on your flight, so that you can, and I like this itinerary, you can fly from Beirut to Amman, Jordan, have a 11-hour layover, fly to JFK, have a 23-hour layover, and then fly to Columbus. Now, I will note that you can easily drive from JFK to Columbus in under 23 hours. So that's the dumbest itinerary I've ever seen.
Right.
I don't know. I've been not that many places. You've been to more places than me, but like 30 hours is a long time to get to Australia, let alone Beirut.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I feel like any place in the world you could realistically get there in about 24 hours.
Yeah, 24 hours would be my benchmark. Exactly.
Yeah. So anything longer than that, it's like there has to be an easier way.
So do a better job of booking your plane tickets. Make sure you don't take 50 hours to do a 16-hour trip.
Right. And I think some of that also comes with age. When you're older, you're a little bit more likely to spend a little bit more for the agony.
Right.
Less agony. Because you're like, it's just not worth it.
I'm not going to lay over in Doha for 11 hours.
Oh, I know.
Ugh.
Poor thing.
I know.
Poor thing. She'll learn.
She will.
Hopefully. Okay. Well, previews for next week. Well, we have our tell-all tonight.
We have a tell-all tonight, which just looks like all kinds of fun. And then...
Yes, Corey storming off.
Ronald's mic not working or possibly disconnecting it. I don't know. They're not very clear on what's going on. Jenny wondering if Sumit's going to be there.
Yes.
Lots of stuff.
Aladdin. Threatening divorce.
That seems like it's just going to keep happening.
Yeah. Well, until it happens, right?
So as far as before the 90 goes, that means they'll probably do the same thing with a 2-week tell-all?
Yes, I think so. Usually that's fairly
Next week
typical.
will be the last new content.
Yes. And so I think next week we finally get a conclusion to Ben and Akinyi, Rebecca and Zied. I don't think we'll see anything from Omar and Avery because it looks like their storyline has wrapped up.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
In the preview, like Tom was giving Darcy something that looked like a ring.
A box.
Yeah,
I don't want to say ring box because I don't think it is. I don't know. Well, with Darcy, it'll be an appreciation ring. Yeah. Tim and Jennifer still need to be wrapped up.
Right.
And Angela and Michael, maybe they're wrapped up.
Yeah, they could be done.
Yeah, they could be.
Oh, no. They were in the preview. They had like an engagement party and the mom is there and stuff.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so stuff happening, but we're wrapping up soon. So we'll have somewhat of a conclusion, if not on the show, off the show, because their NDAs will be done. And
as soon as it wraps. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm sure all these things will come out on Instagram and other. Yep.
All right. Well, we'll keep everybody informed of it next week.
Yes, sounds good. All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Step 1, step 2, step